What wheels fit? What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Fitment Industries Garage, and we are here today with another episode of What Wheels Fit, where we go over all different types of wheel, tire, and suspension setups for different vehicles to help you out in your journey to find a new setup of wheels, tires, or suspension for your car. I'm Giles from Fitment Industries, and today we're going to be covering a car that may be small, but sure does like to party. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is none other than the Ford Fiesta ST. Before we go ahead and get right into it, don't forget to subscribe and check out some of the new series that we have right here on the Fitment Industries Garage channel. And of course, once you're done with this video and know what wheels are going to fit your Fiesta ST, don't forget to check out fitmentindustries.com, where we have a bunch of wheel, tire, and suspension options for not only Fiesta STs, but any other car that you might have as well. Well, let's go ahead and just get right into it. The Fiesta ST is just one of those cars that you can't help but smile at every time that you see one drive by, and for some reason they just sound angry as all hell. The little turbo hatchbacks hit the US market in 2014, and a lot of car enthusiasts quickly took notice, and that only means one thing: that they started to put aftermarket wheels on them as quickly as they could. Unfortunately, these cars were hit with an odd bolt pattern, that 4x108, which makes wheels a little bit of a challenge. So what we're gonna do today is take a look at some of the Ford Fiesta STs that are sitting in the Fitment Industries gallery right now over at fitmentindustries.com and dive into them and see what people are running as far as wheels, tires, and suspension on these cars to help you guys out on your hunt for some new wheels. What we're gonna do is break these cars down into some different categories as well and take a look at some different fitment types to make sure that you're getting the right fitment that you want for your car and what you do with it. The first category that we're gonna be going over will be something suited for those who are looking to get some aftermarket wheels for their Fiesta ST but don't want anything too crazy or over the top as far as fitment. These cars will not require any fender rolling or any other suspension components and will still be good for daily driving. It's not gonna ruin the drivability of the car at all. So first up on the list for today, we have this 2015 with some Konig lockouts. Now these have a size of 16 by 7.5 with a plus 40 offset. Now for the tires, we're looking at a 205/45 Toyo Extenza HP2. And then for the suspension, we have this thing sitting on some H&R lowering springs. Next up, we have a 2017 with some Konig Dekagram, 16 by 8 with a plus 40 offset. So going up in that width about a half an inch, wrapped in a 195/50 Hankook Optimo tire, and then sitting on some Eibach lowering springs. Going up in diameter an inch, we get to this 2015 on some 17 by 7.5 plus 40 XXR 527s. Now, this is probably going to be the widest width and lowest offset that you're going to want to run with a 17-inch wheel without having to roll fenders or trim some plastic liners. For tires, these are 205/40, and this is sitting on some stock suspension. And I would imagine if this thing was on some lowering springs or some coilovers, you get pretty close to rubbing. The next set of cars we're gonna take a look at today are cars that start to get a little bit more aggressive with fitment. At the very minimum, most of these cars are going to have their fenders rolled and are running a little bit of camber. Typically, it's natural camber with getting the car that low, but that helps get the wheels and tires to clear without any rubbing issues. We're gonna start seeing more coilovers come in for the suspension choice as well. So with all that being said, the first up, we have a 2018 sitting on some Rotiform RSC wheels, 17 by 8 plus 40 with some Toyo Proxes tires, 205/40, and then sitting on some lowering springs. Now, what we found is that the amount of fender rolling and trimming is really dependent on the actual ride height of the car and the tire size that the owner chooses to run. We say that because a 17 by 7.5 or a 17 by 8 with a plus 40 or a plus 42 offset almost becomes the go-to wheel size for these cars. And depending on the ride height and suspension choice or the tire size, it really determines the fitment or additional modifications required to get them to fit. So let's just take a look at a few other cars here, like this 2015 with some 1552 Tarmacs, 17 by 8 plus 42 with a 205/45 tire and some Godspeed Project coilovers. Or this 2016 with another set of 1552 Turbo Max this time, 17 by 8 plus 42 with a 205/40 tire, and then sitting a little bit lower with that smaller tire on some Bilstein coilovers. When all said and done, if you're looking for something that's going to look great and not cause a bunch of rubbing or clearance issues, a 16 or 17-inch wheel with a 7.5 to 8-inch width with a plus 40 offset will get you right where you need to be. However, we're not done there, because we always like to take a look at the owners who took it to the extreme and managed to fit some even more aggressive wheels on these cars, and some who managed to get a pretty good fender to lip fitment, because we can't forget about those guys. It just wouldn't be fair. Now, these cars are going to have extensive modifications done to either their fenders, fender liners, or even additional suspension pieces to dial everything in just right. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first car that falls into this category and look at this 2016 rocking some Rotiform LVSs. Now these are a 17x8 plus 30 offset, and these are wrapped in a 185/35 tire, and then the whole thing is aired out on some Air Force air suspension. Next up, we have this 2014 with some good old Workmeisters 17x8 plus 38 offset, wrapped in a 195/40, and then sitting on some air suspension as well. However, this time they went with some airlift performance. And then to close out the day, we have this 2016 with some BBS RS wheels, 17x8.5 plus 25 offset, putting at the most aggressive width and offset of the day. Now pair that with a 205/40 tire and some D2 Racing air suspension, we get the car that we have right here. So there you have it. Those are some examples of some of the Fiesta STs that we see sitting in the Fitment Industries gallery right now over at fitmentindustries.com. And if you didn't see the setup that you're like exactly looking for, feel free to hop on over there as well. There are a ton of them sitting over there that have all the details listed for wheels, tires, and suspension. And then of course, once you figure it out, feel free to shop around for some wheels, tires, and suspension as well. But I'm Giles from Fitment Industries. We'll see you guys later. Peace.